describe Elsewhere as a living museum. My grandmother ran a store here from 1939 until 1997, and during that period of time amassed this sort of vast quantity of inventories and cultural surplus. So Elsewhere is a living museum and installation exploring how these resources can be arranged and rearranged, how they can sort of invent new ideas, and how that can come together through a residency program and education programs that sort of foster collaboration through experimentation and exploration of things, culture.
This lady in the picture right here, her name was Sylvia Gray, and she owned the thrift store and collected everything that's inside of here for about 58 years. And after she passed away in 1997, her grandson and some artists came through and tried to decide what to do with everything and began sorting through things, and almost immediately decided that nothing is for sale and decided that this would be a museum. And now we have about 50 artists a year coming through and using all the resources that are here, all the objects, to create new projects and new spaces constantly.
Everybody who works here is an artist. And I think that gets brought to their approach to stuff on an organizational and administrative level, but also the way that they can support the resident artists who are coming through.
People are doing all sorts of different projects, and we have about 50 artists a year that apply, that come here to create works responding to the things that are here, to produce sort of interactive projects, events, artworks, of course, and various things. But visitors come in and they explore. They sort of take a look. They pull books off the shelf. They read them. They might scan a page or two and take some images home. They might participate with an artist in making a project. They might make a simple arrangement or participate in a play shop or after-school program, a high school after-school program. So there's all sorts of different ways that we try to go work in the garden. All sorts of different ways that we try to get people to engage into the environment.
Use buttons as currency. You can bring them here and technically buy things from the department store. And the motto is everything you want and nothing you need.
This is called Super Piano Bouncy Ball, and it contains a lot of busted up musical instruments that were here. So what you do is you take a bouncy ball and you throw it to musical instruments. It makes music. You want to try? This is called Two Thai Trannies in Heaven. Six? Oh, more Thai trannies. More than I ever thought of. 6 Thai trannies in heaven. And it was by a collective of artists from Argentina called Guerra de la Paz.
So the piece is called Elsewhere the Play, performed by you. And one way to describe it would be to say that it's a play masquerading as an audio tour. And so it instructs the audience / performers, because the audience are the performers and there's no audience other than the performers. It instructs them to move through the space, and they encounter memories from Elsewhere's past, and I also wanted to create a way for anyone to be able to access what I think of as one of Elsewhere's most major assets, which is this framework of the museum. And there's this magic trick where, by calling this a museum, everything in it becomes art. So Elsewhere the Play is an attempt to provide access to that framework, to give people a sense of what the hell is going on here? What is there a kitchen doing here? Are you supposed to be? What's going on?
I mean, I think it's unlike what most people have seen, and at the same time they're not being asked to purchase, which actually gives it even more value. It's not about what you can take home and have. It's about how you can experience it here and share that memory with whoever you're with. So I think that's a lot of what drives people, and I think coming to a place that is always changing brings people back. They want to see more, and then the kind of relationships you can build with the artists or with the people who work here, the curators, I think that also builds relationships that are really meaningful in a world where we often don't have those kind of relationships.
It's a really amazing organization, and there's just such a diversity of people who come through here too. There's like tourists from Guilford and tourists from this middle school and old people, and there's like so many people coming through the space that it flows into the work in a very interesting way. I don't want to miss any moment of the day here because that's the other thing, is that there's such interesting, amazing, insightful, talented, smart, wonderful people on staff and in co-resident times.
I also think Guilford is often, a little bit far away and sort of its own world, and so this is an opportunity for students to engage in a downtown community and to think about the way that Guilford, which is such a model of the curiosity of friends, is such a wonderful model for a school to think about how that can engage with downtown as well.